HKTDC Jakarta Consultant Henky Rusli has been in Hong Kong attending a global meeting of directors and consultants. He's advising on the outlook for Indonesia, where the economy has suffered with the downturn in the global markets. Is there a recovery underway in trade, do you think, or are exporters really still suffering?
Actually, in the 2008 towards 2009, right, the export out of Indonesia is very good, right? But in the year 2009, it does dip because of the overall financial crisis. Well, but then again, Indonesia GDP for export is only 30%, right? Most of the growth are actually in the domestic consumption. So, but you're right to say that there is a dip, right? But the economic recovery has been underway, and Indonesia, being not the least affected in the ASEAN countries, is going to be able to do better, right, in the export industry. And I think within the next quarter or so, all right, the export numbers would have gone up again.
So I suppose you'd see growth in the American markets, but probably not in the European ones.
Well, American market, but even the Japanese, because Japanese market and the US market is actually the #1 export destination for Indonesia. Again, as I said, the export, now that US and Japan, of course, is still undergoing recovery, right? But even within our own Asian market has improved. Set an example, all right? A toy factory, right, in Jakarta. Of course, the factories are actually in East Java. Well, most of the exports are to US, right? Previously, and part of Europe. But right now, they are starting to move away from these markets. Of course, they still serve them, but not in the large quantity volumes like last time. But they start to move to areas like Northern Asia, plus also even in the Southern Africa and all that.
So what are the opportunities you see right now for Hong Kong players in the Indonesian market?
Well, I would think Hong Kong companies does present a lot of opportunities for Indonesia also. Right, but Hong Kong has not been one of the top investors of Indonesia. Right, I do believe there is a lot of opportunities for Hong Kong creative industries, especially in Indonesia.
So, Henky, are there any particular sectors that you have in mind for Hong Kong players?
Property in Indonesia is growing very well. Right, what you call architect design services and all that. I think those are part of the industries that Hong Kong companies can look at, because Indonesia property developer has been using mostly overseas architects to help them to design and build most of the time. Yeah, so I believe Hong Kong does give a lot of edge on this part.
And there is, of course, the biotech and high-tech fields to look at. You would recommend that?
I think high-tech industries does also provide a lot of edge for Indonesia. At this moment, Indonesia has never been a high-tech industry, right? But trades in terms of the high-tech industry, be it in the software field or even in the hardware field, I think Indonesia is a large importer for such products.
With the consumer markets actually developing in Indonesia, would you see big opportunities for Hong Kong brands like Giordano, for example?
Giordano has been in Indonesia for more than a decade now, right? Long time, and they have like more than 100 stores already in the whole of Indonesia, and they're doing extremely well. Even brands like Bossini, right, is also Esprit. Indonesia consumer is a large base. Indonesia has 240 million population, right? Just Jakarta alone is 9 million, right? Given that kind of population base, I think for consumer market, it's definitely a huge market for any retail brands like from Hong Kong coming into Jakarta. And I believe a lot of Hong Kong brands, because Hong Kong is a fashion what you call the fashion city, right, for Asia, for South Asia at least. Now, I think that part does provide a lot of opportunities. But for Hong Kong companies, my recommendation is you need to look for the right partners, right, to move into the market.
So really looking at the Indonesian market, would you say that you're on the road to recovery or already recovered?
On the road to recovery, yes. But it's, I think, at a much faster pace. If you may call in the driving a car, gear 3.